Good evening. I'm Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS Conversations with Selwyn. Thank you for joining us this evening. And those of you who are joining us for the first time, a very special thank you. I am especially honored to have you joining us for the first time because to me it is very important that we share our stories. There are so many of us who are out there doing extraordinary things, and no one knows what we do. And it is not about knowing what one does. It's not about being bold or being a braggart or arrogant. I think it is important that we share our successes with others. I believe that our success doesn't only belong to us. Because you see, I consider success as a beacon of light. And when we are successful, we should allow that light to shine so that others can find their way, or others might also realize that they too can shine, or they too have a switch. And that is why I'm always encouraging people to strive for success. Not so much that it will make them feel good, but the benefit of their success to others. And so I come on here every week to have a conversation with someone about their journey and how are they using their gifts and talents to help others. So that by the end of a conversation, we might not only have a more three-dimensional perspective of who this person is, but we might learn something. We might be inspired and encouraged to step beyond our limitations, especially our youth. Hearing not only the success, but how one of the guests or someone might have overcome their individual challenges. And so the message I leave with you tonight is rise to the occasion. Do not allow anyone to steal your confidence, to mess with your confidence. It is your fuel. It is what gives you purpose. It is what makes a difference for you. Be confident and rise to the challenge. I'll take a break, and when I return, I'll introduce you to our guest tonight, Samantha Griffith. I am back. For those of you who are now joining us, I'm Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS Conversations with Selwyn. The lovely lady next to me is Samantha Griffith, our guest for tonight. Hello, Samantha. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, Selwyn.
How are you?
I am fine, thank you.
It is indeed an honor to have you here tonight, and thanks for coming,
It's my pleasure.
especially how far you came from. But we'll get into that tonight.
That's fine.
I want to start by mentioning a little bit of your bio. Masters in Construction Law, MAPM, Qualified Project Manager, Fellow of the Institute of Commercial Managers and Qualified Commercial Manager, 18 years of extensive project and construction management experience, 18 years commercial, contract and claims management and arbitration experience, 14 years in-house legal advice to FTSE 200 and Fortune 500 companies, 13 years PPP and PFI project management and contract administration experience. Employment, Commercial Director for Mott MacDonald Limited, Mushel PLC, Head of Contracts, Ecom PLC Middle East, and owner of Griffith Consulting. And then there's a host of professional memberships such as Association of Project Managers, the Law Society, Society of Construction Law, etc. And I cannot not mention the many awards, some of such as right, I actually don't have the list here, but a number of industry awards. And Samantha, congratulations on all your accomplishments as an entrepreneur, artist, and lawyer.
Thank you.
You are the owner of Griffith Consulting. What drives you?
What drives me? Essentially, I just want to achieve whatever it is that I go after. I set out with an aim and I want to achieve that aim. That's it. Nothing special, nothing more, nothing less. Just simply trying to be the best that I can be. It's as simple as that.
The newspaper Time Out featured you this year as one of 3 artists changing the meaning of art in Dubai. What does that mean to you?
That was a complete shock because again, I was just being me. I was just doing what came naturally to me, and it was a pleasant surprise that it was taken on board because Middle Eastern art is a bit odd in that the feature was about the pieces that I did, which had to do with mental illness in women, and it was a very serious topic. And Middle Eastern art doesn't necessarily go down that route. Yes, struggles, tribulations in the Middle East, yes, they will happily cover that. But to step outside of that, it doesn't happen very often. So to be acknowledged as someone who's doing something that involved the wider world, women's issues, mental issues, for me was quite positive and quite inspiring.
That is interesting and moving, I must say. When were you actually drawn to this issue with women, mental issues, women, mental illness actually?
I mean, it's a bit of a personal story in that a friend of mine suffered from mental breakdown and actually committed suicide about 15 years ago, and it's never left me. And so essentially I've carried a little bit of that with me, and I was doing pieces, just randomly doing pieces, and then I realized that actually if I was going to do art and I was going to put together a collection, that it needed to be a worthwhile collection, because I think we owe it to ourselves and to the world to do something serious, not to just do pop art and put stuff out there that absolutely has no meaning. And so I thought about it long and hard, and I thought actually this is, as an ethnic minority woman, we suffer from so many different issues, what mental illness being one of them. And I thought, well, I want to fly the flag for that. And so I did a collection, teamed up with a refuge sanctuary in London, and we put together a collection and put it out there.
That's admirable. And if I may go back to your recognition in art, another newspaper stated, I think you're making a splash with a joyful noise, is this colorful piece by UAE-based artist Samantha Griffith. The piece can be viewed at the Mojo Art Gallery in Al Serkal Avenue, Dubai Please correct me if I'm pronouncing these Arabic words
They are
wrong.
correct.
Can you tell us about the piece and what it feels like to be recognized for your art?
So the piece was, it was done for a charity called Surge, which is water charity that essentially raises awareness about waterborne illnesses. And I mean, one child in the world dies every 6 seconds from waterborne illness. And that was quite important again for me to back a charity that was doing that sort of work, especially in Africa. And so I created a piece that was essentially just birds in the canopy of the rainforest, the Amazonian rainforest. Being Guyanese, where else would I place it? And so that was what it was about. So it was a very vibrant, colourful piece, reds, blues, greens, and complete contrast to the earlier collection of mental illness. And it felt good to be recognised again.
And the UAE Arabic newspaper Al Bayan, or Bayan, covered you as a featured artist. What comes first? Your love for art or law?
That's probably an ever-changing ratio. It's the yin and yang of my personality. I do law as the serious side of me gets up every day and argues for about 12 hours a day for whatever it is I'm arguing for whatever company person that I'm representing. And then the softer side of me goes home and either stabs a bit of canvas to get the anger out from whatever it is I dealt with during the day, or gets some paint and quietly, softly paints something that I feel in my soul that needs to come out.
So would you say sometimes the canvas becomes the a means or becomes the object of your frustration, anger, whatever emotions you're going through at the moment?
It starts off as the object of the frustration. That's how I got into painting. I needed, at the end of the day, to just release the stress of whether it's being in court, being in a boardroom, dealing with whatever issues were out there. I needed a release, and it came out that way. And slowly, I've learned to control it, moving from being the anger to just simply sitting there quietly in my quiet moments and painting.
That is interesting, though, that you have this energy force called anger that could have drawn you to something, so profound like art, and at the same time gives you release. That is an interesting journey for anyone. Have you damaged many brushes and canvases in your time?
A few.
I see.
A few, but it's all art. See, that's the great thing about art. It's all art. You might find it, big slash in the middle of it, and you step back and you think that looks pretty good.
And this brings me to my next question. I like the title, right? It's almost paradoxical. It says joyful noise, and it was auctioned at a charity. What can you tell us about the event, and why was that piece selected or donated?
So the title I can't take credit for. I can't remember what I called it initially. I think I called it something along the lines of Paradise or something like that. And a friend of mine, I sort of put it up on Facebook, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, it looks like a gathering of worshippers." I put it on Facebook and I didn't put a title with it. I just put it on. And people were saying, "Oh, what is it? What is it?" And someone said, "Oh, it looked like people gathering to worship," and actually it did. And I thought, make a joyful noise unto the Lord.
Make what?
A joyful noise unto the Lord. And so I renamed it Joyful Noise.
I like that. Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Georgetown, Kingston.
Georgetown.
Yeah.
Kingston gal.
Yes, I'm a Kingston girl. Yeah.
What do you remember vividly about Kingston? One thing.
I don't know, but kids playing cricket in the yard.
Kids playing.
And not being allowed to play. That's about it.
You give me some very, very, very powerful segue into my questions So I asked this next one: how did your parents influence you?
Huge influence. I have two parents who are two opposites. Father exceptionally strict, mother very soft and encouraging, and loving and caring and everything that you could hope for, want for, expect of a mother. And between them both, my dad was very much books first, everything after. Encouraged you to the hilt to study, to be the best that you could be. Supported by my mom when the frustration set in. I can't do it. It's too hard. She had the patience to sit there and cajole you and work through it with you. So between them, they balanced me out and just brought me through to where I am and keep supporting me, and they keep supporting me.
It seems as though their diverse personalities have really informed what you do today. On one side, I don't know whether it's the yin or the yang is the artist, and then the other side is the lawyer. And then that side that deals with all sorts of personalities and issues in boardrooms and so on, and constantly, I guess, fighting and trying to get your way or to win. When you were younger, or as a child, you said dad was very strict and mom was soft, so it was easy to sort of manipulate her.
She must be out of your mind.
Huh?
No.
She wasn't?
She might be soft, but that did not mean that manipulation could occur.
Okay.
No,
okay.
Not that level of softness.
Oh, not that level of softness.
No.
Which one of them allowed you to get away with things more? Dad, would you say?
Dad never.
Dad never?
Ever.
Is he still alive?
No, he died 8 years ago.
Oh, my condolences.
That's okay. My mom would only let you get away with very minor things, but she is an exceptionally persuasive woman, and so you always knew that it was for your best that she was saying no.
You're a mother yourself.
I am.
Very adorable young man. How much do you allow him to get away with?
Almost nothing. Because at the end of the day, I look at it from the perspective of he's being trained for the future. He's being trained to be the best person that he can be, and that starts from day one. Knowing who he is, knowing what he is, knowing that, yes, he is allowed a certain amount of freedom, but there are limits. There are always limits, and there's right and there's wrong, and you just don't cross lines.
What do you miss about Guyana?
What do I miss? Well, I could say things like roti, curry, mitai, chicken foot, bangles.
I haven't ordered a chicken foot in a long time.
Okay, so I've had 7 days in New York of running up and down Liberty Avenue going.
You did? Did you go by Sybil's, by my friend Cookie's store?
I've been to Sybil's every other day since I've been here. But I'm now being forgiven. Food.
God.
I miss certain foods. That's what I miss.
What is your favorite memory from high school?
Oh, wow. I think assemblies.
Really? What is it about assembly? The disorder that you guys got away with, or the order?
What disorder?
In between. So
no.
That nobody noticed? No.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
But assembly for me was a time of getting together and singing the school song, the national anthem.
What did you like about that?
Just the camaraderie. That echo in the QC auditorium of 700 kids just lustily singing, praising, having Mr. Trotz up there, telling us about our future and about what they expected of us as alumni That for me is heartfelt, important, and I carry that till now. Because for me, QC St Margaret's made me who I am. They've played a huge part in what I've achieved and the personality that I have.
What led you to start Griffith Consulting?
So Griffith Consulting got started as a way of helping people. So I was once approached by no, I wasn't approached. I had an old West Indian guy, Barbadian guy, doing some work for me. And whilst he was working, we were talking, and I realised he didn't understand how to do his taxes. He didn't understand that he needed to be set up as a company to work. He really he was a builder, and that's what he was. The paperwork he was completely baffled by, and that was that. And so I think he was in my home for about 3 months. And I said to him, look, just bring everything, leave it, I'll do it for you. Bit of a quid pro quo situation. And having done it and shown him how to file it and what he needed to do, I then had all these little old men start knocking my door going, oh, we've heard that you can do this. Here's a box of stuff. Can you sort it out? And I sat there going, okay. I mean, I've got a 9-to-5 job, but yeah, fine, come on in. And it came out of that. And then I ended up sort of with that going on, with just hundreds of builders, merchants, plumbers, painters. And I then moved into just sort of a bigger arena. And I ended up almost drifting out of my regular job and just being a consultant and getting quite large jobs with the government on to do contracts. And that's how that sort of came about.
Wow, that's a brilliant success story. Well, you are a young, brilliant, professional woman. I'd say phenomenal, but I'll let our conversation take us there. So you cannot easily deny it. From our conversations, I understand that you work very hard and you are career driven with a penchant for excellence. Does this fit you, and why are you so driven?
It does. And why am I driven? So initially I was just driven because I've been groomed to be driven. I've been groomed to deliver my best. Nothing less than my best is acceptable. That comes from my father. Is a stickler for if you're going to do it right. That's where that comes from. It's evolved into me wanting more, to continually challenge myself. I have this sad personality where I get really bored really quickly. And to keep my sanity, I have to keep pushing myself, and I just have no boundaries. I see the next thing, I want the next thing. I can see in the distance, like, oh, I want to be there. And I don't particularly think too much about how I'm going to get there. I just know I'm going to get there, and I'm going to do my best to get there. And pretty much that's it. Now, as a family woman, I've got a responsibility to set an example. So my son needs to see that when I encourage him to study, to read, to do things, that he's not the only person doing it. So we do that together. He needs to see that there's purpose to this, that you achieve something from going through these processes. So that's why I keep going.
So he's learning these valuable principles from you. What have you inherited or learned from your parents that informs your attitude to your endeavors or to life?
Apart short of me saying everything, I think for me a fundamental thing, and in everything I do, and I think the secret to my success is just being human, being responsible, being open, and nice to everybody. It takes nothing. You know, as I said, my mother is a phenomenal woman, and she can sell sand to an Arab. You know, a smile and the softest voice, and before you know it, you're sitting there going, "How did you get that person to do that?" Okay, look and learn. And that's, I'd say, from my mom I've learned that it's about just simply being kind.
Another Guyana question. What is one thing you enjoyed doing while you were growing up in Guyana?
What did I enjoy doing? Riding my bicycle.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So I was one of these children who had a bicycle that had no brakes, that had no light, that my father begged me a million times not to ride, that sometimes even had no seat because it would fall off because I do so many things with it. Between the wheelie, the jumping, I was a bit of a boy. And so, yeah, flying up Camp Street towards Regent Street, going through red lights, dodging traffic.
Samantha, you lived in Kingston,
Yeah.
a hub for policemen or police activity. A station is there, or two.
They never worried about children.
You have a point there. How would you say these two worlds, art and law, collide, clash as troubling conflicts, or coexist in harmony to give us a more multi-talented and multifaceted woman?
I think they coexist.
The yin and yang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes in harmony, sometimes in discord. But they have to coexist.
How do you describe yourself as an artist and then as a lawyer?
Wow. As an artist, so I never say I'm an artist because I think that's wrong.
Why?
Because I'm not. I feel like a complete fake. There's the word. I'm not trained in art. I pick up a brush and I release energy onto canvas or paper or whatever medium I choose. I don't draw. I can't do anything. I can barely write with a pen. So to ask me how I describe myself as an artist, I never say I'm an artist. That's an insult to people who've been to art school.
Is this a reluctance to claim that title because of the things you describe? But then what does it say to people who buy your art, admire your art, fascinated by your art, and call you an artist?
So I tell them I'm not an artist.
Oh.
I'm honest.
Okay.
I'm honest. I don't pass myself off as what I'm not. I'm a lawyer, absolutely, and I'm a very good lawyer. As an artist, art is like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. And so I will not diminish what they see in my art, though I'm constantly surprised that anybody sees anything in it. But again, I won't put myself on that level as people who do this professionally.
Right, when you do a piece, what do you hope people get out of it?
So when I do a piece, I don't do it for anybody. My art has become public purely by default. There's been no intention. I've painted for years and years and kept it all to myself because it's something I do. And purely by default, it came into the public arena, purely by default. What I've chosen to do with that is to get good out of it. And essentially, pretty much all I sell, the money goes to charity. So hence why I've set up with Refuge in the UK, and why I've set up with Search, because that's where it goes to. So on that level, I'm happy to say, yes, I stand by this piece, and there's integrity in it. But that's as far as I would go.
Well, my next question was, are you an artist who practice practices law or a lawyer who is an artist? So I will rephrase that because I want to respect what you just said. Are you someone who does art and practice law, or a lawyer who does art part-time?
I'm a lawyer who does art in my spare time.
I like that. I like that. Where do you draw your inspiration for your art?
So, again, given the way in which I create art, it's a release of frustration, anger, happiness, emotion. And so it really does depend on what's going on in that time and that space. I never say, oh, I'm going to draw X. I just paint or draw, full stop. Whatever comes out at the end is what comes out at the end. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
Because again, I am not an artist. If you said, sit back and draw you or a still of this room, I can't do that because I'm not an artist. I simply put paint on canvas and energy.
What kind of music you listen to relax?
Any and everything.
Yeah? What's your favorite? What is your favorite?
I'm hugely into the classics. Purely thanks to Mr. Bunbury and Mr. Mansook and my parents. But outside of that, I will listen to pretty much anything. Soca, yay. Some merengue, some you put it in there, I will appreciate it all.
And one more question before we take a break. What is most rewarding about your art?
What's most rewarding? I would have to say people liking it, full stop. I'm continually surprised that people do. I'm always shocked at the reactions, but it's rewarding. It's a byproduct, but it's rewarding.
Save Tiger Baby. Arrowhead, I love my golden arrowhead. I don't think you heard me. I said arrowhead.
We are back, and the lovely lady next to me is Samantha Griffith. How are you holding up?
I'm fine.
Good. Can you go a little closer to? Yes, thanks. Yeah. I want to lead in with this question. Contributing in a meaningful way to the development of the younger generation is a desire of yours.
Correct. Yeah.
What do you believe in your childhood experiences that may have influenced this desire?
I know. So, again, this comes back to my mother. We are members of St. Thomas's Presbyterian Church in Tiger Bay. And so, essentially, I spent all of my childhood either during the summer, Easter, teaching children my age, younger, and I'm talking from the age of probably 7, 8, how to read and write.
In Tiger Bay?
In Tiger Bay. Doing jumble sales, doing hot dog, cake sales, to raise money for the kids in Tiger Bay.
Talking about Tiger Bay, and this topic came up last night. There's a video, I don't know if you've seen it, on it's called Tin City, I believe.
No, I haven't.
Where this feature was done, or documentary was done, on Tiger Bay and the abject poverty that the people live in and so on. And I'm glad, in some way, I'm glad that you mentioned Tiger Bay, because one of the things I'm aware of, from your desire to help the younger generation, is that you have this passion for ensuring that young people are educated and given a fair chance in life. I can't speak much about Tin City right now because you haven't seen it as yet, but we can have an offline conversation about that. But you were close to the problem. You were close to it because you said you went to church there. You taught some of the children. Why do you think this exists to this day?
I don't know. Well, not I don't know. I think some of it is just it's nature. It's nurture more than nature. In that the kids that grow up there, that's pretty much what they know. And over the generations, over the last 2-3 generations, that's become all they've known. Because there was a time when kids in Tiger Bay, they went to school. You'd see them go to Sacred Heart, and they'd come to church on a Sunday. We would literally go into Tiger Bay, down into the alleyways, and bring them out, and they'd come in. Now, we still have kids who their parents leave them on the church steps, and they come in, and they come to Sunday school. So there are some who want more for their children and actively pursue more. And then there's some parents who just have given up. And the children fall into that hopelessness. And it becomes the routine of, well, I do what I must to survive. And unfortunately, that's the trap they fall into. And it continues into adulthood, and it's perpetuated through generations. But there are some children who don't. I mean, I can't speak about now, but again, even 10 years ago in Tiger Bay, you had the church was heavily active, we still are. You had the boxing gym. And, on a Sunday morning, they would be in there boxing, and they would, again, get all the teenagers together and give them something to do, give them some hope, try to show them a way out. Mm-hmm. Perhaps that's not as much involved in the community at the moment as it used to be.
What is it about you that makes you relatable to the younger generation?
I think I'm just down to earth. I am who I am. I am what I am. Mm-hmm. And irrespective of what I do for a living, that's it. It's what I do for a living. It's not necessarily who I am.
Who you are.
And so for me, it's just about keeping it real, about sitting down and having an honest, direct conversation with people and saying, look, you've got choices, you've got options, and let's work on that.
As a woman working in a historically male-dominated industry, and in a region not known for women in leadership roles, how do you stay focused and continue to excel?
It just is. It's not a mystery. It's not hard work. Mm-hmm. I never see a problem. I just know I need to do something. I do it.
Right.
And it's one of those things. You're either with me, if you're not with me, get the hell out of my way. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. I will run you over to achieve what I want to achieve. That's it. And that's recognized. But at the same time, my integrity, my manner in dealing with clients mm-hmm. allows me to achieve what I need to achieve, because I can sit with clients and say, look, we need ABC, and you won't be done over. We're honest, we're direct, and it's my word. I'm not giving you my company's word, I'm giving you my word, and that comes with my integrity. And that's the reputation I've built over 18 years.
That's integrity, and that's applaudable, commendable. For young girls or young people listening to the show tonight, what qualities, give me 2, you have that makes you so successful at what you do and getting what you want?
Number one, I'd say, is integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop. You do not compromise your integrity because it's all you've got at the end of the day. And number two is personality. In whatever you do in life, you're selling yourself. People buy you before they buy a product, before they buy a service. It's you that they're buying. And so for me, it's what I bring to the table, what makes me successful is simply my personality. Me, simple, calm, down to earth, me. Personality.
And what are you passionate about as a woman?
What am I passionate about? My number one thing is injustice.
Injustice.
You want to see me go nuts, the slightest kind of injustice. And that's been me from as long as I remember. I wouldn't get into trouble for anything except if I saw somebody else being taken advantage of. Then I would be in there defending to the hilt the underdog. Simple as that. And that continues, and again, it's why I'm so passionate about kids, because I think they're getting such a raw deal at the moment, irrespective of where you are in the world. Children are getting a really, really raw deal, and so that's become my fight and my passion, to ensure that we do something about it. We can change it, and we need to.
If you had the power to change one thing about kids, about how they're being taken advantage of, what is one thing you would definitely change? If you had the power, the means, what would you change?
I think this is on two levels. Sentencing. So looking at it from a legal perspective. I think the justice system does not deal with children in the right way. And I think the justice system does not deal with child offenders in the right way. And so on both sides of the scale, they get a raw deal. It's as simple as that. So if I had the power, I would change that.
The justice system.
Correct.
Now let's switch gears a little bit. You live and work in Dubai.
Yeah.
When people hear of Dubai, they think of this exotic place. It's the Middle East, and in the Middle East there's a vast cultural difference. Some of it might have been a shock to you when you first got there. Was there any culture shock when you first got there?
Okay.
What was that like the first time you got there?
So here's my thing about the Middle East, and 99% of people probably wouldn't agree with me, but I find the Middle East to not be a culture shock.
No?
No. Take away the extremist bits of it, take Saudi out of the picture and some other bits, but the general Middle East, it's almost like living in 1970s Guyana.
1970s Guyana?
Yeah. It's very respectful.
Oh.
It's quiet. Everybody knows their neighbors. There's food constantly coming through your back door. Kids play in each other's houses. It's a completely different, it's not what you would expect. And to the outsider, the media, what you see in the media, yes, it does exist and it does go on, but like every country, every region, everywhere has its own issues and its own problems. But as a resident, someone living there, you get on with what you need to get on with, where you can affect change, you try to, but you respect the laws of the land. But in terms of culture shocks, it wasn't that much. It was actually a refreshing place to be, having been in London, and so I actually quite like it.
Let me go to the chat room. G asked, Do you think parents give up because they don't know how to keep going on?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Being a parent is challenging without a doubt.
Right.
And especially if you haven't got access to all the means or even the minimum means, it is challenging and it is hard, and there's so many influences out there, the wrong influences out there,
Mhm.
that are pulling kids in so many different directions. And so some parents aren't as equipped as others to deal with it.
And Kim asked, why Dubai? That's an interesting question. Yes.
It was a really simple thing. So I had been working for myself for going on 12 years. And I got to this stage where I just needed to stop. I needed to be able to have a holiday and have someone pay for it. I needed to be able to have a day sick and have someone pay for it. Because as you know, when you work for yourself, there is no downtime.
Right,
7
right.
days a week, 24 hours a day. And so it was literally, I was working at a client's office, and it was sort of coming to the end of summer, and I just kept thinking, I don't think I can survive another winter. It's starting to get dark again. I think I'm going to die if I have to wake up to dark mornings and drizzly days. And so I'm getting out of here. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm leaving. And so I tend to be a little bit of a performer, and so I'm standing in the client's offices and I'm going, right, that's it. You lot, I'm telling you now, you're getting your notice, this is it, I'm leaving, in about a month's time, I'm off. And they're all dying with laughter, and I'm literally performing to this audience. And one of the guys, the directors there, said, where are you off to? And I'm like, no idea, but somewhere where the sun's shining, you're lot on your own, I'm going to the Caribbean, I'm going to go lie on the beach, I don't care. And I'm doing all this. And he goes, have you thought of Dubai? And I'm like, are there bombs? Do the bombs fall there? And he's like, no. I'm like, does the sun shine? He's like, yeah. I'm like, where do I sign? And I'm joking. And he goes, okay, leave it. Literally an hour later, I get a phone call going, hi, I hear that you'd like to come out to Dubai. I'm like, yeah. Okay, we'll send you through a contract. I'm like, okay, fine. Contract came through, looked at it, and I went, yeah. That was it.
What was the exciting part about the contract? The compensation?
No, it was sunny.
Oh.
It was sunny. That was it. It was sunny. I had some place to go. They were giving me a package that gave me some accommodation, and it was for a year. And I sat there and I scratched my head. I signed the dotted line, and then I went, holy crap, what did I just do? So then you do what you do. You phone everybody. You go, have you not ever heard of this place that I just agreed to go to? Because I didn't know where it was. Never heard of it before. And they're like, no, but, just go. You can always come home. And that was the general tone that, you've got nothing to lose. Go, enjoy it. If 2 days in, it's awful, you can always say, goodbye, I'm heading home. And so 7 years, 8 years.
Been that long?
Count later, I'm still there.
Wow. What major contributions do you believe young, successful women like yourself can make to the development, growth, and success of young girls?
Talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts with as simple as that. Talking to them, showing them that, we're not here because we've come from these fabulously wealthy backgrounds or what have you. That anybody can be whatever they want to be. That we've achieved what we've achieved simply by hard work, full stop.
Mm-hmm.
And simply really, and that's not just for girls, that's for boys as well.
Yeah,
It's just talking to them and having them understand that there is hope. Because it's very important that kids feel that there is hope.
And what is the turning point moment when you decided you wanted to make a positive impact on the younger generation?
For me, there's never been a turning point. Again, this comes back from having the mother I've got, being raised the way I was raised. It wasn't an option, spending every waking day of your summer at Vacation Bible School teaching from the age of 8 to 16 was not an option. It was, we're going to church. It was, you're now old enough to teach Sunday school. You're old enough to lead, to be there on the pulpit, to be.
Do you think being around the children in Tiger Bay at a time so often at such a young age, being exposed to that level of poverty and despair, well, I don't know if as a child you recognize it as despair, but do you think that to some way informs how you relate to poverty today, and one, and two, do you think it still haunts, does it still haunt you today? Or is it haunting?
Okay, so there's two things there. Being around poverty, my mother and especially my grandmother. So this was our lives. You have a birthday party, you get 26 kids. 13 have to be from St. Anne's Orphanage.
Is that so?
Yeah. My grandmother, for my mother's birthday, for her birthday, for my dad's birthday, for my grandfather's birthday, they went to the Palms. Till now, my mum does that. That's
that is
how
a tradition
we
of
were
your
raised.
family?
Yeah. So I don't know anything differently.
What do you
For
do for
me,
your birthdays
it's-
these days, now that you're older and richer, wealthier? Can buy big diamonds and Bugattis. Sorry. Yeah.
I don't do anything for my birthday, but what I do is for my son's, I don't want to say birthday, but to give thanks for my son, what we do is every year we offer an additional scholarship at Queen's.
Queen's College.
At
That's
Queen's College.
Really? Congratulations.
So
that's
it's
so very important.
Yeah.
Wow. What is it about the younger generation that really moves you?
They're our future.
Our future.
It's as simple as that. We have got a heck of a future if we don't do something about it. They are our future. Irrespective of where we are in the world, they are our future.
I totally agree. And it's why I started a movement, so to speak. I have a page on the website that highlights young people who are doing positive things with their life, because I believe that for all the millions of young people who are suffering various social illness, that young people, not only adults, can make a positive impact, but young people who are doing
Exactly.
positive things, so which I call positive peer pressure. And what advice can you give to someone just starting out on their own consulting, seeing you've done it for so many years?
It's hard.
Yes.
It's unrewarding in most aspects.
Unrewarding.
It's there's no thanks. People are ungrateful wretches, but keep going. Keep going. Believe in yourself and keep going. You'll get there.
So for the young person who might ask, who's not in the chat room, is asking, why do you keep on going? What makes you keep on going, if it is so unrewarding at times?
Because because I can see, I know what I want to achieve, and sometimes I can see that I'm achieving that, and then I look at the alternative, and you consider the alternative of working for someone. Yay! And then I think, life in prison, the needle. No, it's not really worth it, because I will kill some of the people I work for. I've worked for in the past. So you think of the alternative and you think, nah, keep going. This is the better option here. This is the better option.
What profession, talking about that, now that you said that, other than yours, would you like to attempt?
Oh wow.
Other than art.
Art?
Other than art.
I don't know. Sometimes I think brain surgery.
Brain surgery.
Yeah, just to get in there and tamper and understand why some people are the way they are.
Is that so?
Yeah.
You wouldn't mistake it for a canvas, would you?
I might.
Okay.
I might. But, you
That
know.
would be a dangerous metaphor and mistake, Samantha. You
It-
told me how much you take out
hang
your
on.
frustration on the canvas.
It might have a positive effect.
Well, hopefully.
You know,
But, so, brain surgery.
yeah.
Do you recall any special words of wisdom that you received from your parents that have shaped who you are today, and could you tell us what they were?
There's one thing that never leaves me, and is my mom saying, "To thine own self be true."
To thine own self be true. So I ask you, what prompted you to become a lawyer?
Well, at about the age of 7,
Yes.
having just come back from holiday somewhere, my dad's friends turned up and said, "Oh, how was your holiday? What do you want to be when you grow up?" And their hostess, and hearing this booming voice, "No, you will not!" Ouch. That then made me think, oh, okay, so I can barely count past 10 because I don't like maths, science, physics, all that stuff. Numbers confuse me. What can I do that I don't have to learn maths? Law. So from that age, it's the only thing I've ever wanted to do.
But here's the interesting thing. Today, you do a lot of consulting in construction law, architecture, and all these things that require some math.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened since then? So what happened is I went down that route, and it's literally the only thing I wanted to be, the only thing I focused on being, and then sort of to get through primary school, you've got to do maths, it's common entrance, and if I'm not good at something, I work extra hard at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I excelled at maths in common entrance, went through QC, we did well in maths, we did CXC in third form, CXC maths, we were the first class to have to do that. And so I came out at the other end pretty good in maths. Then came the surprise, crap, in law you've got to do company law, corporate law, which is all maths, accounting, maths. So I've kind of come out at the other end doing business law, commercial law, and all the bits of law that involve mathematics and crunching numbers.
Life is full of ironies and paradoxes,
Life is full of
right?
irony.
Of people who have helped or mentored you, what made them good mentors?
I think they recognized that I was a strange personality, and they let me be. Because I was not and still not your typical normal kind of child. Exceptionally quiet, terribly shy, and they didn't force me to be what I wasn't. They just allowed me to be me in my space, but encouraged me to achieve what I wanted to achieve within that body.
Gotcha. If this were not your ideal job, what would that be?
My ideal job would probably be buying fashion for a big fashion house. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you like about that?
That it's artistic, it's creative, it's self-expression. Yeah.
Do you think law restricts, constrains you?
No.
No? Do you flirt with freedom, or are you free?
Oh, I am exceptionally free.
You are.
Yeah.
Kim asked in the chat room, do you have to wear a burqa?
No, I don't.
And why is that?
Because the only place in the Middle East where you actually have to, and it's an abaya, not a burqa.
What is it called?
An abaya. An abaya is the black dress with the shayla, the headscarf. A burqa is trousers and a long shirt.
Oh, okay.
The only place in the Middle East that it's compulsory to wear an abaya is in Saudi. So when I go to Saudi, I wear an abaya.
How often you visit?
I'm in Saudi every month.
Every month?
Yeah.
What do you like about that?
What do I like about Saudi?
Yes. You kind of look like that.
I love Saudi. So, you turn up, okay, fine, you've got to wear your abaya, but you don't. It means you don't actually have to think about what you wear. You have 4 black dresses in your suitcase.
And you must. This is a must.
It's compulsory. Women must wear abayas.
So
it's
you
absolutely
dress,
compulsory.
You dress in that before you go on the plane?
You tend to, there's a little thing that happens on the plane when you enter Saudi airspace, and literally every woman on the plane gets up, walks to the bathroom, gets changed, and comes back and sits down.
Oh.
Yeah, you do it on the plane, and it's the same thing when you leave. You're dressed, and the minute you exit Saudi airspace, you head to the bathrooms, you undress, you come back, sit down, and that's when the alcohol start being served as well.
Have you ever forgotten to wear your abaya?
No, you won't get on the plane without it. So you need to
I mean entering Saudi Arabia.
No.
Okay.
No.
Nobody forgets that.
No, you won't get off the plane. And it's the same thing in Iran. When you go to Iran, so strange story this. I went to Iran and I had an abaya that was about 2 inches too short. So my ankle, literally the bone of my ankle showed. And as I stepped off the plane, I got the most violent abuse from whomever he was. And that was still on the tarmac, literally checking women's abayas.
Men check their abayas, not the women. Not women.
Women, Iran, work? No, that's not going to happen. Same thing with Saudi. It's all men. And so Saudi, Iran, yeah, it's compulsory. So you're not forgetting it because you're not getting off the plane. You're staying on that plane and you're going back.
Is it frustrating?
No.
You just adapt.
You just adapt or die. When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Give us an experience in, let's say, Saudi Arabia that sticks with you.
So what do I find? So Saudi I find strange and unnerving because they've got a lot of terrorism, local terrorism in Saudi. And so we spend a lot of time at Kingdom Tower, which is owned by Prince Fahd.
Which is where?
This is in Riyadh.
Riyadh.
And so this is the prince who is the most radical, who wants all the reform, who wants women to... Once you're in Kingdom Tower, you can take off your abaya, you can do whatever you want to do, walk in shorts, flip-flops, t-shirts. They don't care. Those are the rules. This is the same prince that owns Time Warner.
Oh,
and
the young
everything
prince.
else.
Okay.
Correct. And so for him, it's very important that women just be free and be liberal and be open and just be themselves. The problem you've then got is you've got the local hardliners who target there. So the most unnerving thing about being in Saudi is to get home, to get to work, your car gets checked. Your car gets checked at your car gets checked for bombs about 7 times. As you enter your compound, you've got anti-aircraft guns, you've got war tanks. It's really like being in a war zone. I've been in war zones that I've had less ammunition around me.
This is in the hotel?
Yeah.
You have tanks?
Yeah.
And anti-aircraft missiles?
Yeah. And as much as you wind down the window, so again, thing with Saudi, you've got to be in the back. You cannot be next to a man who you're not married to, or is not your father or your brother, not directly related to. So you've always got to sit in the back. And so the driver winds down the window and it's like, oh, hi Joe, how are you, sort of thing. And then you wind down the window and Joe, and it's like, oh, hi Sam, how are you, how was your day? Oh yeah, it was pretty good, blah blah. ID please, Sam. They know you by name. They can have a conversation. You can have a conversation with them about their wife, their kids, everything. But you must go through it. You must hand over your ID. They must run it through the system, check that you are who you say you are. They must go under the car to look for bombs. They have to go into the bonnet. They have to go into the boot. That's the strangest thing about Saudi.
So security is
very
strict.
Yeah.
Wow. And Iran, similar?
No, Iran's not like that. Iran's very open. You don't really see the security, but you know they're there. And Iran, it's all about the secret police and the religious police. A little bit of that in Saudi, and therefore you never know who's who. And so you've got to be very careful about what you talk about because you can't speak out against the government. You can't have any real conversation in public.
You're young and successful. Many would say, have it all. Why not slow down? Retire young?
And do what?
I don't know. Art? Attack the canvas? Caress the canvas? Something?
I paint because I'm stressed at work. So I remove the influence for the painting. Am I really gonna paint? There are days, don't get me wrong, when I think, yeah, line of beach, pina coladas,
Right.
good life. And then I think, no, not really. You go on holiday and by the end of week 1, you're like, when are we going home again? I'm so bored out of my mind.
So Samantha, tell me, what would you like to accomplish before you're 50?
I don't have a list.
You don't?
No.
And is there a female public figure in the US or UK that inspires you?
Okay, so my end all be all, beginning end, Maya Angelou.
Maya. What is it about Maya Angelou? I mean, I know what I know about Maya Angelou, but what is it for you?
It's just everything. The honesty of that woman, the down-to-earth directness with which she delivers whatever she needs to say, the truth. The truth.
Yes. Very important.
Very important.
Is there anything you wish you knew before becoming a lawyer?
No. What I normally say is, if I had known how much work it was going to be to have your own company, somebody could have told me that. But then I think, yeah, I would have still done it anyway, because I really listen to what people tell me. But no, it's what I've discovered is that the reality of what I do compared to law school, two different worlds.
Okay.
Two different worlds. I don't know, maybe I use deductive reasoning, maybe I use the soft tools that I've learned, but the reality is that it's two completely different things. It's about, who can spin the best story, who's got the most convincing argument, truth, honesty, nothing to do with anything, and it's about being able to fly your tail off and convince people that you know what you're talking about.
And in that I ask you this: what are some values you learned as a child you believe prepared you for living and working in Dubai?
Values. So I would say respect.
Respect. Okay.
You cannot survive the Middle East without respecting others.
I get that.
You're talking about a place where you have literally got all 200 nationalities in this world living on top of each other. I work with something like 115 nationalities.
What is that like?
It is what it is. They're people. You think very carefully. You learn to stop and really, really think about what you say. You learn to stop and use words in different ways. So what happens is I've found that in Dubai, if I listen to myself when I'm out, and if I'm speaking the way I speak there, I sound like a complete retard. So it takes me about 3 days to readjust my brain to speak English in an English way. Because you're speaking to so many people whose English is not their first language.
So what do you normally speak?
You speak English, but it's not really. You start dropping the definitive article when you start saying things like, if I would like, I don't know, a book like this, you say things like same. I want the same. You don't say I'd like the same book. You say same. And they get what you mean. If you would like to say, can I get past, or it's too loud, bring it down. There's one gesture that means all those things. You would like some more. Can you give me a little squeeze with my car? Can I get through? You wind down your window and you go, and they know what you mean. If you're saying, your music is so loud, they won't get that. You go.
It's all a gentle.
It's a very gentle place. And that's where it contrasts so much of what you see in the media, because you hear the car horns and the blaring and the people screaming, yalla, habibi, get back. But actually, that's not how the majority of people live.
How much do you speak Arabic when you're there?
I don't speak it as much as I used to speak it when I first got there. Just primarily because of the environment that I'm in. Pretty much I work with Brits across the board.
Okay.
All of my clients tend to be Western educated, Arabs anyway, so they prefer English as the spoken language. English is the business language anyway. So not as much. I try to speak it. My neighbours tend to be Arabic anyway, so I try to speak with my neighbours. And my son's trilingual, so I kind of, when he slips into the Arabic, I need to know what he's telling me. So I try to keep up just because of that.
Architecture and building and construction and development. Can you give us just a little insight, brief, of what you do when you're there, or for your company in Dubai? What do you do? What is a day in the life of Samantha Griffith like?
What do I do? Oh, crikey. So my job is really to protect the company at both ends of the scale before they go into a deal. So what do we as a company do? Should be the first question. And we're consultants. We're management and design consultants. We're into education, water, environment, you name it, oil, gas, petrochemicals. We're into everything. I cover 13 countries, Middle East, North Africa, Southeast Asia. It's my remit. So effectively, across the board, so I deal with big contracts. Anything over $1 billion will come to me. Anything under will be within my team. And so I negotiate straight out for the best deal for my company, whether that's with investment bankers, other. Because what we do a lot of deals where we will come together with somebody like PricewaterhouseCoopers or Morgan Chase. They will fund it. We will put the knowledge behind it. We will bring a construction company on board, and so that's what I do. Put together those deals and negotiate for the best cut from the company. So that's at the front end. Somewhere in the middle, once we've got the thing up and running, be it for whatever, there may be some issues that crop up in terms of the delivery. So if the guys need support, somebody to go in again, argue the case, argue what the contract says, what our rights and entitlements are, that again is when I get called in and I go head to head, toe to toe with whoever's on the other side to get my money. And then at the back end of it, when it all goes really wrong, is again when I step up and have that fight, be it in a boardroom, be it in court, arbitration. That's when I step up and have that fight again to get the best deal for the company.
Would you like a short break at this time?
I'm fine.
You're fine. Because time is out on us, and I have some questions here I really would like to ask you. Why are young people? Well, let me phrase it this way. In your opinion, what do you believe our youth need to prepare them for the future?
So, apart from a good education, what I encounter, so this year I started running a graduate training program for my company in the Middle East. The last time I ran a graduate training program was literally when I left London 7 years ago. And it's incredible that 7 years ago, when I was training graduates, there was a level of education. They were educated. What I'm finding is that there are graduates who are still ill-educated. They're not uneducated, they're ill-educated. And I've been hearing this argument in the marketplace for years and couldn't quite believe some of it, but couldn't quite really get my finger and head and tap into it around it. And I'm beginning to understand why so many employers have been saying, yes, fine, you have a degree, but you're no good to me. I'd prefer somebody with experience because they know what they're doing. And what you have is a lot of students who come out, and earlier I spoke about what I learned at university and what I do now, and that even though it's law, there is this complete disconnect. Near the twain shall meet. What I learned in my 5 years of law school and what I do now, apart from a bit of mooting, there is very, very little relationship too. But I was sufficiently flexible to just adapt and do what I was told and learn how to work. And that's what you've got. You've got people who can't take the theory across to the practical. And that's what a lot of students, young people are suffering from. They can't make that leap into the marketplace. So they come out, they've got fantastic degrees, and great universities even, but they can't adapt. They don't know how to, they don't understand that, yeah, great, you've learned all that stuff, but really that's not what you do in a workplace.
Are there any thoughts on how we can help them, the youth, how we can help them to get there?
So So that's what I'm doing at the moment in terms, and I really would encourage anybody who's got a company out there, no matter how small, even if you're on your own, one individual on their own, take someone from high school, from a college, from a university, just take that person in for a couple of weeks during the summer, during the Easter break, during Christmas break, and let them see how what the working environment is, what is done in the workplace.
Give them that experience.
Give them the experience. And I'm not talking about photocopying, I'm talking about real work. Because I know, again, so many students, so many of us, when we did, and I'll say it, at the end of my first year, I wrote off to lots of law firms in London and said, volunteer my services, I'll come work for free. Ended up at a law firm in Mayfair, prestigious part of town. And what did I do for 4 weeks? I was at Luna House in Croydon, immigration, at 4 a.m. with my little bag, most morning, holding space in the line, waiting to get a ticket when the door opened at 9, sat there with the ticket, looking at the counter, and then thinking, right, I should get called in an hour, call them now. And then calling the lawyers saying, right, they're going to be ready for you in an hour. That was my work study. But it was okay, because I was able to say I worked for Mayfair law firm. So the next summer, I got a good job. So I spinned it to make it work for me. But that's not what I'm talking about. Having gone through that, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about giving people a chance to do real work.
You know, you're talking about that, and what comes to mind is part of a conversation last night I had with Valence Williams. And I think you tuned into that conversation. Yeah. And he was talking about this company, Coursera.
Correct.
That is underwriting this this new education part, MOOC, massive online courses.
Yep.
And one of the things that they're stressing that a lot of these companies, and I think this is what you're alluding to, it is not just about college, it's knowledge.
It isn't about knowledge. It is
about
exactly.
knowledge. And that is very important. You know, while we are educating, we should also find a way to give experience
Correct.
to these young people. I think that's very, very important. Let me shift a little bit. What is your favorite holiday spot?
The Caribbean.
The Caribbean.
Anywhere in the Caribbean.
Not Dubai? Not Iran?
No.
Not Saudi Arabia? Not Riyadh?
No chance.
Okay.
Okay. The Caribbean.
The Caribbean, huh?
You know, the ability.
I don't know why I thought it would have been Dubai.
No. I mean, the ability, you know what? The ability to just stand. It doesn't matter where you are in the Caribbean. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter what road, in town, in a village. Doesn't matter. To just stand on a spot and look at the world go by. We are a funny bunch of people, West Indians. And you will be entertained for free from sun up to sundown. And probably even be fed for free as well.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to come and say, girl, have a piece of mango. And you're like, oh, thanks. Okay.
Yeah, the Caribbean is an interesting place.
It's a great, fun, interesting place.
And what is your favorite food?
Ooh. Fish. Any kind of fish.
Huh?
Yeah. Fried fish. Not any kind of fish except curried fish.
Yeah.
No.
I couldn't do with the curry fish at all.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Gadget. What's your favorite gadget?
I'm not a gadget person.
You're not a gadget person. Okay. All right. What are you most proud of, Samantha?
Being a mother.
Being a mother.
Yeah.
How old is your son?
He's 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the last thing that he did that made you laugh?
Oh, jeez.
If you don't mind sharing.
Crikey. What's he been up to? I don't know. There's just so much of it. Oh, rain. So, a couple of days ago, it's his first real rain experience. So he's seen rain when we've been in London. He's been inside, seen it falling outside, falling. So he knows what rain is, the concept of rain. It's wet and all this. We're in Central Park and it's bucketing down with rain, and we're both drenched. And he's like, "Mommy, it's fun to bathe with our clothes outside." Meanwhile, I'm standing up there going, "Ugh, man," And I looked at him and went, "No, this is what you call being drenched." And then I was like, no. He doesn't know any different. And it's probably like standing there going, okay. And that was then followed by the jumping in the puddles and splashing me with the water, and me just having to go, you know what?
He doesn't experience that in Dubai.
No, we don't get it. It's the desert, right?
Yeah.
Does not happen.
Wow.
Doesn't happen.
Was that strange to you when you first got there?
No, because you think desert, you expect that.
Oh, so.
What was strange was I got there on October 17th. On January 17th, exactly 3 months later, it started raining. And that was strange. And it didn't stop raining for 3 days and 3 nights. To the point where on most streets it was about 20 to 25 feet of water, because there's no drainage. They don't expect rain. It never rains. So there is literally no drainage. There's
25 feet of water?
If you Google it, Dubai rainstorm, something like that, it's the most phenomenal thing. Buses are covered, streets have disappeared, areas have disappeared. It was the most amazing thing
3 days
ever.
and 3 nights. When last it rained like that?
No idea. I don't think it ever rained like that before.
Oh, that's interesting. Something must be said for global warming for those who believe in it. And what's next for Samantha Griffith?
I have no idea. I'm making up as I go along. Come on.
That's honest.
It's like plans. No.
What do you look forward to doing on weekends? Nothing.
So my weekends
that's
are split.
difficult.
No. My weekends are split into two. On Fridays, we have this complete blast out as a family, and literally during the week, my son literally compiles a wish list of things he wants to do on a Friday, and that's what we do as a family. The three of us, we go out and we just have this crazy day of just doing any and everything under the sun that we can think of from a child's perspective. And then Saturday, I don't get out of bed before 1. That's the rule. Nobody comes looking for me, nobody says my name, nobody comes on my floor. It's just me. And then at about 1, and this is not that I'm asleep, it's just I'm in bed. I just lie there and stare at the
Until 1.
Until 1. I force myself to do nothing until 1 o'clock.
I like that. Do you have a particular practice to relieve stress? Painting.
There was a time when it would be hitting the gym. There was a time.
I have a friend, and I'm not going to call his name, that said to me one day, I'm going to ask the wrong person that question.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yes, and I'll be rushing for the beat button on this show. But, I trust you and I like that. What turns you off in your field?
What turns me off of my field?
In your field.
In my field.
Yeah.
There are two things. We have a lot of exceptionally arrogant lawyers. Exceptionally arrogant lawyers, and that.
Is that an oxymoron?
No.
Oh.
No, it's not. That's a huge turn off. And then you've got the desperate lawyers. The ones who are desperate. The ones who will do anything to get the contract signed. They were lie, cheat, steal. And that's why I paint, because I deal with so many of those.
So I have two more questions for you. What do you consider a bad day?
I could be honest and say when I don't get my own way. But for me, okay, so for me a bad day is when I find myself in a position where I can see an injustice happening and I can't do anything about it.
Okay. I one more or two more. This one is there any question I didn't ask tonight that you would have liked me to ask?
No, I don't
Good.
think so.
And the question I ask all my guests, you know it. What makes you laugh out loud?
Anything.
Anything?
Anything. I mean, my motto in life is keep smiling.
I like that.
Right?
I like that.
And the simplest, most stupid thing will make me laugh.
Oh, Samantha, take us out. You know, it's 10. It's like 4 minutes after 10. But help us close the show with some words of advice, some words of wisdom, especially for our young people that are listening.
What I like to say is this. Be true to yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Think about what you want and go for it. Don't let anyone, and I mean anyone, tell you that you can't achieve what you want to achieve. Don't think, oh, I don't have money, so I can't do that. That's the least of your problems. The only thing you need to achieve whatever you want to achieve is ability and determination. That's it.
Thank you. Samantha, thanks for coming.
It's been my pleasure.
I really enjoyed the conversation. You were candid and eloquent, and I really, really had a good time. I mean, the audience can see where I was trying my best not to laugh. You were quite enjoyable.
Thank you.
And thanks for those words of inspiration. Be true to yourself.
Absolutely.
That's very important. And I want to close the show by saying to the audience, I want to echo that. Be true to yourself. Also, don't let anyone steal joy. Don't let anyone tamper with your confidence. And remember this, last but not least, don't let anyone pin you down to the past. Anyone pin you down to a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. No one is flawless. Pick up your pieces, put them back together, and keep shining. We need you. We need your light. And so with that, I said good night until next week, Tuesday. And this is Selwyn Collins saying thank you for listening to CWS.
Good night.
Suffer the little children to come unto me. Every day more than 30,000 children around the world die of preventable diseases. More than 300,000 children are being